Recording. Hello and welcome to your weekly dose of love, catching fireflies. Oh, we have to do our pre-show vibe.
Meditation,
Yes.
little focus here. We're gonna have to do it quick in our minds. That the listeners don't have to wait for too much pause, which is good.
Yes. So you can close your eyes if you want as well, and you can join us in the warm, delicious, inky black, summery night. And there are floating bugs all around. The fireflies are there.
There we go.
Hi, landed.
Good morning.
Mm.
I was in my visualization, our pre-show visualization, which has happened today on the show.
Mm-hmm.
I was chasing. There was one firefly, and it was going up into the darkness, into the black, and it was just so clear because there was just one. I was super focused. And that's, for me, what this show is about today. Just feeling
Oh,
super clear.
wow. I love that when you can see your mind being so ready for something, you're like, I'm on. I am. Wow, look at my mind go.
Love the mind.
Me too.
Yes. Good morning.
Mm.
It's been a while. I
Mm-hmm.
know for our listeners, it's just been a week, but we had some episodes in the can and saved up, and we used those for self-care. To take care of ourselves and make sure we
Yep.
didn't overdo anything. So right now we're right on schedule. Right on. I got an email this morning from myself, from my past self, telling my future self to reset the goal. And I must have just miscounted 10 weeks or something like that, because it's at 5 weeks. And here I was saying that was, 10 weeks.
Oh,
Long story
wow.
short, I'll send my future self, another email, because I thought, boy, that was a great
This is
idea.
the midway point. This is episode 5.
Yeah, this is episode 5, and we have a 10 episode goal just to get ourselves warmed up and started and committed to
Mm.
showing up each week. And
Mm.
it's been really good. And
I love that about you, how conscientious you are about this experience and how sensitive and aware you are.
fully present right now and really loving it. And I love this message I got from myself that I forgot that I sent. So I'm sure in 5 more weeks' time, I'm going to forget that I sent another message, and it's going to be just as sparkly as the one that I sent.
How did you do it?
So it was just a send later option, I think, with
That's so
the
cool.
email. I was like, send later. So yeah,
I have never
highly
thought of
recommend it.
doing that. I love that because I do a lot of kind of things I'm doing for future Rudo. Like I want to be the best friend of future Rudo. So it's like the things that I can do that'll mean so much to me, and then when I receive them past Rudo, I've forgotten the effort that it took. So it's even like an extra little gift. I'm impressed with myself in a way that I think you just nailed that kind of like, oh wow, I did that. Oh wow, it's me. Who am I now? What is this thing?
That's so good. I I was listening to an audiobook the other day, and it just happened to be about happiness. And I can't give you the title right now. I'll have to share it after in the show notes. But the author, one of the authors of the book, described this idea about when negative things, or perceivably negative things, happen to us. He's
Mm,
encouraging the listener to, or the reader, to write it down in a notebook dedicated to things that you thought were bad, and leave 2 lines underneath it. And the next line underneath, you answer in, like, I think it's like a month's time. You go back and you reflect on what happened, and you
mm,
say, basically, um, and he has 2 questions. I forget exactly what they were, but something along the lines of, was this as bad as you thought at the time?
mm,
And then 6 months later, that second line under that one, you answer, what did you learn from this? How did you grow from this challenging experience? And I could just feel the magic that could have on me. So I'm totally initiating this into my life. Of course, I'm going to add a little bit of techiness to it, where I'm going to have it be automated. So it emails me and asks me the question like, "Hey, 6 months ago, you experienced this. What do you think now?" And then, yeah, little bit of automation there, just because I like technology. And
Mhm.
but what I love about that, and what I'm really feeling for it, is that it will help desensitize me or sensitize me to negative things, or things that are perceivably negative at the time, where hopefully, I guess the concept is, and the idea is, that that happens enough, and I learn enough that actually 6 months from now, this is going to be awesome.
Mm,
So embracing that difficult time at the time, getting good at that. So I'm looking forward to
I
doing
like
that,
it.
practicing.
I think that is a sweeter version of stoicism. So, I mean, I get the intent of stoicism to, like, really, like, we're anchored and moored within ourselves. Like, we don't go to the pits of despair, but we also don't go to the rafters and rooftops of ecstasy, which I personally have a problem with, obviously. But but the intent of staying steady, staying focused and moored and anchored in oneself, I can appreciate from an intent. And I think what you're doing is acknowledging that within the lower points of experience lies an opportunity to reframe it at some point, which makes you mindful of your mindset, which I think is where you and I tend to lean into the most, is like, oh, everything is mindset. Like, experiences in the world are vast and different and marbled with struggle and opportunity. And depending on your lens, you are governed by either I am suffering, this is horrible, or wow, this is great, this is great, this is another really interesting challenge for me. And that's about as far into the stoicism that I can edge into. Also, being like, the older you get, the less like bothered you are by things that would have like really floored you back in the day. So that's my little nod to like how an enthusiast, a very like emotionally alive person, not alive. I don't want to say like, what do I want to say? I want to say like, um, think feeler of deep feelings, and that not being a problem. How do you lean into stoicism? That's how I would do it, is like aware that it is a mindfulness game.
Mm, that's good.
Mm.
And I love the bit of you on the rafters. Now, are you getting enough of my audio? I'm not getting my levels showing up on the audio thing here,
Oh,
but
really?
yeah, hopefully y'all can hear
You
me.
sound
Sounds
delicious
good?
on my
Okay.
end.
Oh, well, good. It's just not showing me my levels.
Oh.
That's all right. I love the idea of you on the rafters, and because I'm up there cheering with you. And I also know, like, I'm really mindful of how I can get up there and cheer, 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 cheer. And then I need to like lean on somebody and wobble down the rafters as if I was just, drunk with joy,
Mm.
and go and lay down somewhere, because I've just totally just let it all out and text myself. Uh,
Blissed out.
so blissed out with joy.
We were gonna call this show Bliss Balls.
Bliss balls. Yes. Now
Uh,
renamed Catching Fireflies.
Indeed.
Indeed. Rudo, it's an exciting time to connect with you, because so much has been going on. We've had conversations in between now and the last time we recorded, which were really important,
Mm.
including us listening to our own podcast and just learning from it, and just being with ourselves, and
Mhm.
rehearing, and doing that without fear or judgment, just love.
It is the thing. For anyone wondering why on earth would that be so, like, noteworthy, listening back to yourself in any context is an incredible learning experience, an opportunity.
Absolutely. Feels good. One of the things we chatted about at some point was, I reached out to you and I said, Rudo, what I need this podcast to be, I said. And part of that was me hoping and working, since we're doing this weekly, it's just such an amazing touch point to say, okay, I want to catch that one firefly that's going up into the dark. Like, I want to do that. And I want to do that with others around
Mm.
me. I want to share the little incremental stories. and I want to stay accountable and I want to catch that firefly. And is it the
Mm,
right one? Am I going for the right one? Yes, of course I'm going for the right one because I'm going for one.
mm.
I totally believe in just going for it. And eventually you catch the one that you're going for the one. For me, excuse me, I'm projecting here. I feel through the work that we've done, just coming together on this podcast, not having a plan, has given me the opportunity to go, okay, there's a firefly. I'm going to catch it and I'm going to enjoy every moment of the journey. So, like
Mm,
the summer's air, the grass, the
mm.
darkness, the feeling, the excitement. And I shared with you on the last episode that Keith Delmar is writing a play called
Yeah,
My New Happy.
yeah.
Well, since then, we've actually had several weeks in between that episode and actually recording this one. And in those several weeks, I'm happy to say that I have found a theater that is going to showcase my play in New Plymouth, New Zealand. And it's a very beautiful theater called the
Oh,
Fourth Wall Theater. And it has just beautiful seating, beautiful theater. And how it happened was I decided to start the list. I made a list of theaters and I thought, oh, I'm going to call and try to find out how much theaters cost to rent. And, I was pretty naive at this moment in this process. And the Fourth Wall was at the top of my list. And I said, okay, I'm going to call them. I call them and I say, oh, I have this passion project and I want to do this play and just checking to see how much you rent your theater for. And
mm-hmm.
she said, we don't just rent to anybody. Would you like to come in and introduce yourself and say hello? So um,
What a
I
great response.
yeah, I said after, and that afternoon, I was able to get over there and meet Raywin and Brett, the owners, the amazing owners of Fourth Wall Theater. And we had an amazing chat, which was just full of heart and full of connection. And I felt like literal open arms
Mm,
wrapped around me, gaining lessons from my elders, and it was amazing. And
wow.
they've even Brett at one point in the conversation said, how are you planning to workshop this play you're writing?
Mhm.
I thought, oh, I've got some friends online, I'm going to do some online things. He said, well, sometimes we do it on stage here with lots of professionals locally come together and they'll watch you read your script. Would that be something you'd be interested in? Yeah.
Wow.
So here, not only have this opportunity to be in this amazing theater, um, but I'm going to have
They're
some
setting you up for success.
some new people that I can't wait to meet. People that love theater, and yeah, so I'm really excited for that opportunity. So this is step one. So I have a lot of work to do to get to that step of doing the workshop.
Yes.
That said, I have an opportunity to share with you and the listeners every week of the progress I'm making
Your
towards
milestones.
bringing in a play into the world that tells my story about happiness. So I'm very excited.
I love it. And I really controlled myself because I heard you talk about what work you have yet to do, and I so wanted to do the introduction of, like, kind of, like, holding you in the now, but you did it yourself. You were, like, um, self-referential to the now, the process of the now, and, like, looking for the opportunity to find the simple joy in each step of the way, which
You know, it,
mm.
thank you. And that simple joy, like even this morning, I think I was brushing my teeth, genius brushing teeth moments. And I reflected on the joy I'm going to have today of writing. So after this call today, I'm spending the rest of the day writing,
Mm,
and I am taking myself on a little holiday in a few weeks' time, where I will spend.
fantastic.
We'll probably have to record there as well. A little Airbnb holiday for myself, just for 2 days to write, and basically finish this play.
Mm.
So we'll see how that happens. And
Oh, that's so cool.
what was fun is just thinking about how I I really want to enjoy every moment of it,
Mhm.
because it is the reminder. Here's a chance for me to experience the joy in setting a goal, and having a plan, but genuinely enjoying the process along the way. Yes, there's going to be points at which I'm challenged, that I'll
Mhm.
need help. But guess what? I'm getting better at asking for help.
Another thing we talked
Another
about.
thing we talked about last time. Sorry,
Hey.
I'm just rambling, but there is a lot to unpack
Not at
because
all. Not at all. You are
since
narrating the now.
since the last time I talked about asking for help,
Mhm.
and I talked about my men's group,
Mhm.
and I have to say that there was a time in between now and or then and now that I needed help, and I chatted with you about this when
Yeah.
the last time we tried to record and something wasn't working, and I went to my men's group and I shared with them that I told them, I said, I tried, I put a message in the group, or I put a message out to one of the members, uh, that I wanted to just have a chat. Just, hey, can I have 5 minutes of your ear? And then it was during the holiday time. And so I kind of, and they didn't respond right away. And I decided to delete the message. And, but I felt good that I had done the message, but then I deleted it. Yes. My asking for help, I deleted. But I
Mhm.
felt confident that I was safe and that I was well, that I could manage my emotions at that time.
Mm.
So following up
You
to
had
that,
you had reflected that it was, like, important for you to know that you could.
yes, and I was safe. Like I could just pick up the phone and call
Mm.
any number of people. I felt like I had the power to do
Which I'm
that.
assuming was very comforting
It
to
was
just
comforting.
know that it was available, not necessarily, like, receiving, but knowing that you could.
Yeah, but at that time, I was still processing the perhaps guilt and shame of reaching out to others. I deleted my
Mm.
message. It's pretty clear.
Mm.
Long story short, I went to men's group. I was accountable for that. And I stood up and said, hey, I reached out, but I think I've got this now. I'm all good. I don't need any kind of process to work through this. But the men in my group saw that there was a process to work through, and they called me up in the middle of the circle. And what happened next was amazing. Another man stood up, came to me, and was talking to me and asking me a few questions. They had me close my eyes, and he had me give the feeling of shame that I was having for wanting to call out or not bother anyone else. He had me give it a color.
Oh,
I gave it
yeah.
a color. You gotta love this. Gotta love colors. And then he asked me where it was.
Oh,
And
yeah.
yeah. And you know where I thought it was? I thought, oh, it's at my base chakra. It's at, it must be down there, And then I was like, no, it's at my feet. And I said it, just get down. I said it's at my feet. And I don't know how it all happened, but that black tar, yeah, he said, oh, this is what he said. Oh, this is it. You ready for this?
Mm.
This beautiful man said to me, he said, now your feet are in this blackness, in this tar. You're stuck. You're stuck in this emotion of feeling shame, guilt for asking for help. He says, I want you, I want you to take a step forward out of that. I want you to step out of that. And honestly, I kind of just lost my cookies and I started to cry because I realized that I couldn't step out from where I was without holding on to him. Like I reached out and I put a hand on his shoulder and I realized, oh man. And and then I realized another thing was that I couldn't get the other foot out without being held.
Oh, wow.
And a fella comes up behind, holds me up, but and I thought, man, I'm not going to put all my weight on these two guys. And then I asked for help. And I said, hey, man, we need all of you. I need all of you to help me out of this. And they all gathered around and they lifted me up. I mean, we should have this in a movie or something. It was one of those moments, but this is real
Mm.
life and this can really happen.
Mm.
And I was lifted up by these beautiful men. And here I am, like lifted up, and I let go. I let every muscle in my body relax and I
Mm.
just let it flow.
Mm.
I let it flow.
Wow.
And then at the end, I was asked, what color is it now? And it had turned white. And since
Totally.
that moment, I'd just like to say that I've been asking for help in different places.
Oh,
and it
fantastic.
is so real and so good, and I feel completely free from that guilt and shame. I mean, I went out to one of the online group that I go to, and I asked for help recently, and again, I had asked help previously around the play, but this was this was a question. I'm like, I need help answering this right now question, and
Mhm.
was able to get the help. And
Man.
yeah, so anyways, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really free. I got no more black muck at my feet. I am just walking on air. So it's feeling good.
Whew. What a good story. I
Hey.
had a tear rolling
Mm,
down my cheek as you told
mm,
that story. That's like, one of those things where I got some catharsis from that, you know, experience as well. Like compersion, I feel joy that you got that, but I also feel like something in me needed to know that that moment was possible.
so possible. Yeah, it almost is like doesn't make sense to me that it's possible, like that possible.
Mm.
That a bunch of men in New Plymouth could lift another man up and change his blackness to white and allow him to ask for help and feel freedom and from guilt and shame. Like what?
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
better than Netflix.
In terms of, like, its
Like,
healing properties and transformative properties for you.
oh dear.
Words.
Rudo. Uh,
Mm?
Rudo,
Mm?
how are you?
It's me.
It's you.
Um, mm, I'd say I am a whole smoothie blended full of all the things. Um, the holidays, the space between our last recordings, was quite nice, quite indulgent, in a very, like, solo kind of way. I didn't really have any mother duties for most of this time, which, it's just bonkers to me that I can kind of, like, have extended periods of time. Um, I think it's a fascinating aspect of, people in, divorce, shared custody experiences. For me, I've, um, really found the gratitude in taking off certain hats that I wear, which I think is, whoever's listening that might also find a lot of pleasure in all the ways in which they show up for others and kind of like that be like a really like the giving, the healing, the nurturing, can be a role, but like it's not all of you. And in fact, you replenish. For me, I replenish myself by taking all of that away and like taking myself out of that environment, out of that lens. And it's kind of fun because by the end of it, I feel like a bit rudderless, like where's my purpose, where's my purpose, and like even just seeing that and kind of like having a longing for my child, I lean into that as well. It's not suffering to me. It's like, oh, it's pining. Oh, I pine for my little one. I pine to be a mother again. And so we reunited yesterday at my parents' house. And it was just that I just love the, like, leaping into my arms and staring adoringly at each other,
Yeah.
that refreshed deliciousness. I mean, I'm lucky that I have a kid who's really good in his own skin around being separated and missing. Like, it's not like I think what I'm speaking to is born out of both of our personality types. I wouldn't do that to him if he, like, really suffered from being like separated too long from me. It must just work for both of us. I think we both are very very immersive creatures. So he's like immersed in his world with or without me. And so when we come together, we're like, ah, yeah, this world. Ah. Um, and then I promptly left him again with the parents. So he's gonna have a weekend with the parents. Ah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, it's weird. It might sound really weird to other people with different paradigms, and different family circumstances, but it definitely works for us and our weird little family to have all of these kind of truncated times. So I'm excited about a camping trip this weekend, and then school starts in a few days. So yeah, year 4 for the wee child,
Exciting.
which I guess
Yeah.
is like, I don't know, grade 5 or something for
In the
my
America.
American
In
friends. Yeah,
America.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an exciting time in New Zealand because, yeah, all the kids are going back to school from our long summer holiday break, which is, I don't know.
It's a
Yeah, it's a
chonky one.
good chunky break. Yeah, the kids have forgotten what it's like to be in school for sure. They definitely don't know how to wake up on time. That's for sure. Everybody's been asleep in my house when I leave pretty much every day.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Monday's gonna be
Gonna be
interesting.
tough, but we can get through it, and it's exciting. There's a lot of excitement in my house around going back to school, so I'm really grateful for that. Sometimes it can be a
Nice.
daunting thing, but no, this year it's a very excited feeling. And I'm going to go help out at the Montessori classroom that they're redoing for my youngest
Oh,
this Saturday.
lovely.
So I feel really good about being able to get my power tools out and go and support and put in some hours. I feel like we've grown as a family where we have a bit more time, and the kids are old enough to that we can go and do things and not have the house completely melt down. Uh,
Nice.
from yeah, and yeah, really looking forward to that, being able to be a part. Rudo,
Mm?
I've got our box of deeper questions here.
I was just thinking that.
Yeah.
Yay! Time for deeper questions.
Time for deeper questions. So I'm going to just pull out a few and we're just going to. Katie up. Here you go.
That
And I'm going to pick local
beautiful
today.
stoned avocado green
Now
box.
okay, with this one is what this one is us.
Nice.
And let's read the question. We'll find out who should answer first. Can you share a memory of a time when you felt a deep sense of gratitude? Could be a meaningful gesture, a great opportunity, a moment of beauty, or serendipity.
Mm,
Not sure if we did that one already, but
no,
no, this
similar
is
to
a
things like
similar.
having a gift, I think
Ah,
was one that
yes,
we
that's
asked.
right.
But a moment of gratitude. Yeah. Shall I tell you what I immediately thought of?
Yes.
I grew up in Kentucky, and there was like this pastime that I would do as kind of in my late teens where all my friends were driving. I was not, so I was always the passenger. And we would go for country, we call them country dips, but country drives, because Lexington, Kentucky is like urban, but it doesn't really take you that long to get into like horse farm country.
Hmm.
And we would do in the evening with twilight, and we'd watch the sky change, we'd watch the scenery change, and then we'd like find a good pulling over spot and just like lean on a fence post and watch horses in big meadows as the sun would set.
Sounds amazing.
And just big sky, pastoral magic, horses, the peacefulness, the quietness, the opportunity to be really still and watch the light change and watch our whole circadian rhythm, I guess, kind of adjust to the changing light and the changing time. Oh, it was so special. And I remember each of those moments just having that wash over me of like, fuck, I'm so lucky
Mm.
to live in a place that is this beautiful.
I love hearing that. I can just feel the sunset sun on my skin, that crisp air, the feeling of the light hitting your skin. It's like, kind of like a moon bath almost, just that sunset bath. Sounds
Mm.
so good.
And thinking about it back now, I'm like also quite grateful that I didn't really have any place to be.
Mm.
Like now when you're an adult, you're like pretty much always thinking about where you're supposed to be next.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I do have it in a rhythm, so I kind of know where I am, or know where I'm going to be. It's ahead of time. It's not quite a shock. Um, what came to me was because I feel quite grateful for so many things, and I try to practice gratitude often. But the serendipity part and this the when I was coming in today to Manifold here in New Plymouth, check out one of their little booths. You can have a little booth to yourself at Manifold if you need some quiet space to do a podcast. And I met a person at or I at Toastmasters this morning. I saw a new guy, and I thought, oh, okay, cool. And then I was getting out of my car here at Manifold, and this guy's getting out of his car, and I walked right up to him and I said, "Hey, how are you?" And he says, "Yeah, great." And we introduced ourselves really quickly, and we both coming into Manifold to do some mahi. And he asked me what I was doing, and I said, "Oh, I'm doing this podcast." And he said, "Oh, right." He goes, "That's right. Well, we're supposed to meet." And 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 he told me about his journeys as a ship captain, and now like a pilot captain, and now consultant, and he's moving into consultancy, and he's taking the stories of being a ship captain into leadership role into organizations and things.
Oh, snap.
And I thought, oh man. And um he told me one little story snippet, and I hope I get it right. He's he said that you never basically dock or pull your ship ashore into a town that you're not willing to spend a night in their prison. And I thought about it as like this commitment to an idea or a commitment to a thing that you're doing. Like, you know, we've pulled our ship ashore into this podcast, and we have to be willing to just spend a night in prison with it. Like, and I think I've done that a few times, little late nights trying to get recordings to work or trying to get the editing software to work. And you got to be willing to to do that hard work, the little difficult bits. And so I loved it, and I thought that was just one of this guy's stories. Long story short, he was just really happy to meet me, and I was really happy that I said what I was doing. I said, yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes just I can talk a lot, and I can share a lot and about everything that I'm doing, but I'm really embracing that because of just the sparkles and joy that it spreads, that I see on other people's faces, that I experience for myself, is just so worth it. And yeah, so now probably after this, we'll go and talk podcast and help somebody else get their their interesting mind on the air.
Oh, fantastic.
So I love that. Thank you for sharing, Rudo. This is,
Oh, thank you.
I have to create a separate pile because I'm going to make sure that we got to go through all of these.
Okay.
We got work to do. Deeper question number 2 for today's show is: can you tell me about a memorable adventure or a trip you've taken, and what special, or how was it special or transformative?
Oh, we've definitely done that one. So
Definitely
it's
done that one. Okay, goodness me. Yes, I will. Let me just Oh, yes. Okay, I found the sets of questions that we have done
okay.
right on the top. We are, yeah. Okay. Can you tell me about a time you truly felt alive and what made that time special? Could be an experience or connection, overcoming a challenge, being in a certain place, a moment, or awakening. Okay, go.
I've got a good one.
Go, 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 go.
So I used to be in a long-term relationship with a wonderful person from the Philippines, and we would go back to the Philippines, way up into the mountains, in the northern part of the Philippines, and in the Kabayan Benguet district, and there's like really incredible mountain chains there, and they do caving adventures. And so one of the times that we were there for a really long period of time, I was like, I want to do all the kind of ecotourism stuff that are available in this beautiful part that's very different than any other part of the Philippines. And so we went to a place called Sagada, which is really, really famous for this amazing like caving adventure, ecotourism, but also like the coffee. Anyways, you might know about the coffee because it's like the kind where like there's like a little animal, it's like a lemur type thing, and it eats the coffee beans and poops them out, and then the coffee is collected after that, and it's like
Awesome.
quote unquote the best coffee. It was
Right.
delicious coffee. Anyways, so shout out to any Filipinos out there that understand and appreciate what I'm putting down. You got to go to Sagada. It is incredible. And so I'm like down for it because I grew up in Kentucky, limestone caves. I've done cave tours, and they're like, this is like, are you ready for it? It's like adventure time. And I'm like, I mean, I guess so. Oh, I'm in my 20s. I'm fit. I'm like, sure, yeah. Like, how harrowing are we talking? And they're like, it's fine. You'll be fine. And we start the cave tour. It's really epic. And like pretty much 5 minutes into it, we do like something very challenging. Like we like kind of drop down into a hole that's very narrow. And I'm like large chested. I'm like a lot skinnier than I am now, but I'm still buxom, and I can barely squeeze through, and they're like, it's okay. You'll be fine. And there's someone at the bottom like waiting to catch my feet to get me onto the rock placement, and I'm like, oh, okay. And then like the next thing is like taking a rope and swinging across like a giant cavern of nothingness, and then I'm like, what happens if I drop? And they're like, just don't, really don't. And I'm like, cool, cool, cool. No safety equipment, really?
Oh my gosh.
And um I barely make it to like you swing across the thing and you have to like kind of Indiana Jones yourself onto a ledge, and they grab me and I barely make it, and they go, oh Jesus. And I'm like, oh fuck. They're scared, oh no. And like at every point they're like helping me make the thing to happen, but I realize how, you know edgy this is for me from a survival instinct, and the survival instinct kicks in pretty hardcore, and the adrenaline and the cortisol start rushing through, and there are points in time where I'm shaking so hard that I have to like bum scoot along because it's so scary. The whole experience takes hours. We go through all of these different things, physically very challenging, mentally very challenging. um, I think the kind of chillax vibe of the guides who are in like flip flops, jandals, and
Yeah.
like all the things that I'm like, would this happen in any other world? Would this meet any safety standards? And like that kind of like you're so pulled out of what is normal in life, like a sense of like, oh, there's safety rails for everything,
Yeah.
but you're so out of that.
Whoa.
And I was just like really having to hold on to all of my wits and physicality. And by the end, you get to go through these like beautiful, like fresh, clear pools, and
Mm.
the caves turn into like kind of like these pink tapestries, and everything is like otherworldly. It is the most beautiful end to this very physically challenging thing because you're floating in like crystalline waters, and the texture of the rocks are really bonkers, and everything is beautiful. And like there are a lot of people at the end of that, and you realize the end of your experience is most people's like destination place. They just go to that place to like swim in the pools and take their pictures, and you're like, cool, I did like life threatening things to get to this point. Y'all just brought like your 8 children and you're just swimming. And thank God I'm not a mother at this point. I'm
Yeah.
just a kid who's like, there were many points in this journey, in this trip, this 3-month time in the Philippines, where I was like, if my mama knew what I was doing, she would kill me. If I die, my mama's gonna kill me.
Oh, that's funny.
I feel like they've amped up their safety protocol, potentially because of me. But, anyways,
Yeah.
that was so incredible of an experience. And by the end, I felt like I had truly earned my keep in this world. Like, I did that. I did that. Wow.
That's awesome, Rudo.
Mm.
I want some of that. I'm a little bit scared about the abyss
Not now
part.
that you're a
Yeah.
father. No.
Yeah. The abyss thing. So, were you just holding on to the rope as you
Yep.
Indiana Jones did across? You weren't like, I'm no. There was no safety gear, carabiner, like, "Oh, are you locked in place? Okay,
Nope.
we'll swing you across now."
Nope. Nope.
Oh my gosh.
And there was no going back.
So,
There was at no
no
time an
turnaround.
opportunity to change your mind. They're like, "No, we need to keep going forward."
Whoa.
I, like, joked about it a little bit, like, "Can we stop now? Like,
Yeah.
we
Is
go
it
back?" And they're like, "No, it's not a going back time.
not a going back? Oh
Keep
my
going. You'll be fine."
god. The story that popped up for me is nowhere near as exciting and as, like, alive as that. 'Cause I feel like I need to go and dig something up that's a bit more alive. Oh, man. I'm gonna read it again. Tell me about a time you truly felt alive and what made it special. Well, okay, I'll go with the story that came up because that's what you're supposed to do with the universe. I was about to get on my bicycle and head home from work, and I felt overwhelmed and alive with joy that I had received a no for something.
Ooh.
And then I had asked for something and it was really important and I got a flat pretty much no. And I was just like, yeah, that's awesome. Now give it to me. Yeah, you want to say no to me? Watch what happens. And it was this total reframe that just blew my
Hell yeah.
mind and I felt
Hell
completely
yeah.
alive and I was just like, I want more. Give me the nose. And if I'm not getting the nose, where am I living?
Yeah.
Am I actually pushing the boundaries to get the nose? Like,
Right?
I'm obviously not pushing hard enough. And so, yeah, in that moment, I felt incredibly alive and felt so good to realize that and push forward. So I got that no. I pushed forward. I did the thing. The thing was amazing. Changed my life. So glad I did it. So glad I had to yeah, put my own money on the table. So
Mhm.
glad it wasn't easy. And
Mhm.
it was good. The no was good. It's like one of those things that I write in my journal, like that guy in that book says, write it down, and 6 months later. I didn't need 6 months. I had 6 minutes, and I was like, this is going to be amazing. And there's my reminder to call my mother-in-law.
Ah.
Beautiful. Merle. Love Merle.
Wow.
Yeah. So, mm,
Opportunity for me to remember that when someone says no, that means you're doing something edgy and you're pushing the envelope. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is challenging status quo, challenging yourself, challenging
yeah,
the path.
100%.
Yay.
And lately, I've been getting lots of yeses, which is really weird. Like lots of big yeses from the universe. Like, yes, being seen, being said, oh no, like we need you. Can you come and join this big project? Because we just saw what you did in there and we want some of that. I'm like, whoa, cool. Thanks. Yes. Yes. But I guess that just means I need to now push harder on that side. I don't have to, you know what I mean?
I do.
Just be myself, do my thing.
Yep.
Yes. And that's us, Rudo,
Yep.
doing a thing.
Totally. And just like
Thank
catching myself being like, I can't believe why are you saying no? I'm going to change that. Be like, oh, cool. Awesome.
yeah. Thank
I confused you enough that this is a good, I've snapped you out of something. Thank you for that. No.
yes.
Good indicator.
Awesome. Thank you, Rudo. This is amazing to be here with you. It doesn't get old. So, 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 so good. And
Yeah.
to our listeners, I just have to say one thing more is that I have to be accountable here. I've said on several episodes now that I've re-listened that I would have some kind of little thing that you could fill out or some kind of way to
This is
contact
slightly
us.
my fault. This is my
No,
fault.
no, no, no. We're not taking fault. We're not spreading blame. We're in this together, Rudo. We got to own this. Okay, let's own it for our audience. We have done nothing for you
Nothing.
to necessarily connect with us, except the fact if you know us, you can connect by email and things like that.
We did say
So
that.
what I think we can recommit ourselves to is we're going to work on it, and we'll
Mhm.
check in with you next week on what kind of progress we're going to make. At least one step in that direction by next week. And it might just be a strategy around how we're going to do it. But we are
This all
committed.
might be a moot point for somebody who's listening to our canon much later on down the road,
Yes. Fair
which
enough.
is
Yes.
kind of what I have in my brain.
All right. Yeah, we can update the text underneath these episodes probably, and there'll be might be links by now. So if that magic happens, send an email to your future self. Oh my goodness.
Disregard what what we're saying. It's already available for you.
Thank you for spending time with us. Thank you for spending time
Mhm.
with me, Rudo.
Thank you, darling.
Have
Have a good one.
have a good one, everyone. Take care.
Bye.